Mama said that chair came from Savannah.
I am a very old-fashioned person living in 2014. What I mean by that is I am really intrigued by all things vintage. I grew up on a farm that's been in my family for over 100 years. I've always been surrounded by history. So I love vintage touches in life. I think kind of keeping our past around us, it's something that I try to do in my home and in my life and in my music especially.
Ooh, vintage, timeless.
I really feel like vintage is a way of life. Not only did growing up surrounded by these old things kind of get passed down to me, but it's really all about being like that country woman. And I feel like there's tons of us out there. You know, we have gardens, we like to sew clothes, we like crafty stuff, we like to go buy old vintage furniture and fix them up, distress them even more in some cases. But to me, that's a whole way of life. So I think the love of all things old and trying to, you know, keep those relevant in a modern world is something that's probably been passed down to me as well.
'Cause the world keeps spinning, wonder if anybody knows you're...
So I've been playing music since I was 3 years old. I started playing piano, fiddle, and singing at 3. I've always been surrounded by music and grew up singing with my mom. And then really fell in love with country music when I was in middle school. I decided to go to music school for college, moved to Nashville after that, and just started writing with anybody who would write with me, and songwriting has just kind of taken over everything, you know, from that point on. I think it's really important, especially for women in this town, to be able to play an instrument.
I wanna wake up under...
For what I was trying to accomplish, it was important for me to be able to come in, sit down, just me, and be able to totally get across to you who I am as a musician. My sound is something I have worked really hard at for a long time. We live in a very poppy world, so producers tend to push me to a very poppy place. Unfortunately, my specific voice, this little thing that God has given me, just doesn't work very well in a hugely produced manner like that. So what I've discovered is that producing me in a more organic, more like even bluegrass way really helps my vocals shine. And that's sort of what my record labels helped me to really figure out. So we've been producing these tracks all very organically with the majority of the instruments being bluegrass, but I wanted it to be modern sounding at the same time. So the way that we kind of brought that element in is through these really interesting like drum programming. So you kind of get that really cool modern energy, but you're still basing the whole sound around these really organic, old-fashioned instruments. Rambling Man was sort of an idea that came out of a writing session, and I was like, man, has anybody ever sampled an old country song? And instantly I was like, I know how to do this, we have to do this now. You know, this is such a cool idea.
He can settle down, be doing just fine.
I just Googled the lyrics on my iPhone and I started singing. And the melody just came out of nowhere. I don't know where it came from, but I sang it down the first time. We've never changed the melody since. So it was really one of those just, okay, this was really meant to happen. We just started working on the track and I took it into Curb and everybody flipped out and it kind of changed everything for me lately.
Says I love you, baby, but you gotta understand.
To me, this was such a cool thing to bring these old elements of this beautiful classic country song, but give it a modern twist and bring it into 2014.
When the Lord